Okay, so got you on the other graphics card box. I'm just going to take off my socks real quick here. Don't want to be generating any static electricity while working on this. Already had my finger kind of arc into my camera a little bit earlier. The USB port a bit. Didn't do anything, just was a little bit of a shock. Pun completely intended. Alright, it's over there. So, first thing we need to do is we need to take off the screws on the back. There are, you can see them here. There are a bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of them on the outside, and then you got the 4 that are holding in the heatsink onto the GPU. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And these are standard Phillips head screws. Oh, it's failed me. Oh, there we go. How about these? Perfect. You always got the tool for the job, just got to find the right bit. Alright, so I suggest doing the outer ones first, and then doing the GPU screws. I'm not sure if we'll need these screws or not, so I'm going to make sure I don't mix them up with any of the other ones. And there are a bunch of screws that come with the water block, so may or may not need these. It's just faster to do it the normal way. Shall lock it neutral. So one thing Sapphire knows how to do is how to bolt down stuff onto a card here. Actually, it's not really more screws than what was on my 4870X2. But that was like a monster of a card with a huge fan heatsink. And these ones are still pretty big, but they're not the same kind of size as that one is. But it has a larger heatsink on it, rather, if you think about it, I guess. This one does. The other one's actually, the 4870X2 is actually a reference model card. So it had like a fully integrated internal kind of fan system that blower out the back of it instead of into your case. And they started making these monstrosity things. I really didn't like this design. It dumps, heat right into your case instead of out the back. So now for these, you just want to go kind of in an X shape. So do one corner, then the opposite corner, then the other corner, and the other corner. I'm going to undo them all, not one at a time, but like in sequence. Like do a few turns on one, a few turns on another. Same as when you put on the GPU or heatsink, or the heatsink or the cooling block on your GPU CPUs. I just totally screwed up. I just went across instead of diagonally. I fail. Doesn't really, I guess it doesn't really matter that much when you're taking off a heatsink, but when you're putting it on, it does matter because you want to make sure you get the stuff spread around equally. No air pockets or anything like that. I believe these we will be reusing this, so make sure you keep them separated. So now, flip this over. Should be able to pull it off. It may take a little bit of force, don't worry about it. I don't think I'll break the card. Let's see, actually is there one more thing to do here? Let's see. There may be, let's consult the manual here. That's for that. I want the manual for the heat killer. God, it's way over here, I think. Okay, so there's a bit we have to take off as a part, aside from that. I'm just looking at this to figure out what needs to come off though. So there's two screws here at the top on the inside bracket. Those need to come out as well. Not sure if it uses the same type of screwdriver or... Yeah, I guess it does. Okay, cool. So the really smaller screws. Maybe I wouldn't lose these ones. And what do? I proceed to drop it onto the floor. Although, oh well, I can find these ones easily. I can find screws pretty easily for some reason. Let's see, I'll just drop this one over top of the box, like I should have done in the first place. But I try and get my hand in there to pull it out. Alright, so, let's see. Well, I'll find it here in a second. Right back. So I forgot to mention how awesome this thing is. Look at that. Picked it right up. It's that magnetic wand thing from I was telling you about when I was showing you the toolkit thing. I'll stick this back here. Alright, so now this should just come right off. A little bit of movement around to break the seal from the paste that's on there. I take a little bit of force to pull off. Especially I want to force it off. There we go. Took a little bit of force there, we got it. Alright. And now the fan connection. My favorite things in the world to deal with. There we go. And there we go, the PCB and everything's off. So I got some of the previous thermal pads on there to deal with. It's fairly simple layout though. Alright. You see all these thermal pads on here. Black ones. I don't know what to do with the fan cool heatsink part of this once we're done with it. So go ahead and let you have a look here. Look see. And this is the 290X naked. For all the world to see. It's actually a fairly simple layout. Very low key, low profile. Very clean layout. It's pretty good. You can see there's still some paste over here. We'll have to deal with all that. So, let's go and get to it. Okay. Now, I'm going to go and take off the rest of these thermal pads that didn't come off with the heatsink. Guess that one doesn't come off. So that's for this, and then yeah, because that's just a pad for spacing. All the things come off the MOSFETs. So there's a little bit of stuff on the things down there. So what we'll do is this. Bust this open. Brand new bottle. I actually got two bottles. I don't know why. I guess I figured I've been doing a lot of stuff with this. You know what? Screw this. I wonder why they make this stuff kid-proof, these stupid seals. It's impossible to get them off even for adults. So I spray a bunch of stuff all over the place. For use for these purposes, 91% is pretty much what you want to do. It's a really good amount of proof amount. It's very pure and won't get too much stuff all over the place. So what I do is just put a little bit in the cap instead of going from the bottle, because there's a ton in there. If you don't have much in the bottle, you can go from the bottle. And just gonna pour it onto whatever you're gonna use. That way you don't have to moderate out. And we'll fold it over a couple times, and then just gonna go over the top of these stuff back here to get this off here. It's not going to be the cleanest job in the world, but get it done here. Because working with these kind of stuff is never get really a clean job done. When it comes to thermal paste, because it gets everywhere. And there's all these little nooks and crannies for the, what have you, whatever device you're using to do the cleaning with, to get caught on, whether it be, paper towel or a Q-tip or something. Invariably, you always get pieces caught along the electronical parts. So we get all the little bits off here. Now, AutoClean probably would have worked just as well, but it's a little bit longer of a process. That probably is a little more pure of a clean because you're actually breaking down the thermal paste. Another good thing about rubbing alcohol is that it actually evaporates pretty quickly. Really, the AutoClean system is predominantly rubbing alcohol, if you ask me. There's probably some other things added to it, but I think the base is rubbing alcohol. Probably some guy out there watching right now going, "No, you idiot, do it this way." But it's my first time doing GPU water cooling, so bear with me. Probably fast forward through some of this stuff. Then we gotta do the actual GPU die here, which I've done many times before, so this time I'm just gonna take it right off the top of this. Do it a quick couple times here. Concentrate a little bit. At least the things around the die on this card are a little bit smaller. In the previous cards, they were really large and you'd really get a lot of stuff cut up in them. Like kind of a mess. And look at all this stuff. That's off of what seemed to be clean die. Probably got a little bit more if it was hard to clean, but let's get another quarter here. Pull it up and do the same thing again, make sure we get everything off. I'll have to do this with the back of the GPU block as well. Not too bad. Sure there's no leftover residue on any of these bits here. Not really. There's a tiny bit of thermal paste still on some of these things in the back, but I'm not too worried about it. Alright. It's obviously going to be non-conductive if it was on there. So, let's see, so we got a couple things we need to do here. So this long one you see here, this strip goes over the back bits here. I don't know if you can see them. Those kind of bits behind the MOSFETs. That's where that goes, right along here. And then the purple ones go over the chips around the heatsink, around the processor die. Then those three you see there, kind of over here. That's where the white bit one goes, right on top of that. It's right smack dab on top there. So let me get this over here. So I want to take a look at this, how it fits. Right down top there. Okay, so there's no actual thermal contact on the so the MOSFETs and the capacitors there don't actually have any, of course they don't have any on this either, on this cooler if you look at it. Yeah, this is where the MOSFETs and the capacitors go into to fit in there, and there's that strip that goes over those things. So they don't get cooled off on that either, so that's fine. Okay. There's actually an install manual online, but I didn't actually go and look it up, so have to deal with that as we go. Of course, you can't really see anything, can you? Because this thing's in the way. Let's flip it around here. Now you can see some stuff. What's the battery like on this thing? It's not really charged up at all. Well, let me go and throw you into the case just so we can get some aerial looks at this, and then we'll probably stop. Because actually the one card's actually almost full. So okay, we're done. Yeah, better aerial view there now. Just bring it over a little more. Alright, so let's see if I turn this way now. You still see? Kind of. Alright, so let's see. So on the back of this, there should be like an adhesive kind of side to it. Yeah, there we go. That's just double-sided. It's not really a thermal pad as much as it's a piece of thermal. It's like a strip of thermal paste. Really. So it feels like anyway. Can I get this other side off? Let's go and lay it down first. It'll get easier that way. Ah, so close. There we go. Actually stretch it out a little bit. Probably shouldn't be walking off little bits here and there, but I'm going to. It's just kind of getting in the way of the screw holes there, but alright. That should be fairly good. We do the same thing with these now. Hi everyone, this is GeoWill from LifeMine Production Squared, and we're back to continue recording the build here. Started working on this last night. The what did I do? I'm working on the water cooling for the graphics card. I'm currently looking for there it is. This. Need that to get into the G-lid here. So I'm not sure how I'm going to apply this. I'm going to use the spreader in here, or if I'm just going to do like a tiny little dot on it or something on each of these black all these chips around the socket here. Already put that one strip down. Just back a little bit. Getting the plastic stuff like this is really fun. So I go at an angle to the top corner. across the bottom, essentially creating like a little trapdoor kind of thing. This should then, with the proper amount of coaxing, yeah, there we go, fold open and boom. So this is non-conductive, electrically conductive. Let's see. Looking for like a curing time kind of thing. I don't think there is a curing time. This doesn't say that there is on the box. Insert, whatever you want to call it. So maybe something you can do research for. I was gonna sneeze there for a second. So we got our, let's go ahead and get this out of here. Got our thing here. So this is gonna be an interesting kind of thing to work with because it's the first time I've done this sort of a thing. Well, first time using this paste too, so I'm not sure how viscous it is. Oh wow. A little bit of air in there. Let's get on this plate thing. We're already starting off really well. Jeez. Okay, so just a little bit on these. I'm not going to do too much because the pads are also going to help a bit with that. Just going to try and get over a good portion of the chip face. I don't want to get too much on there, just like a nice thin coating. That's a little bit off center. It's not conductive though, so if I get a little bit on the board, it doesn't matter. It does kind of matter because you're wasting a little bit of it, but at the same time, it's not going to short circuit the circuit board. Again, I don't want to get too thick of a paste on here. This one, I put the stuff on here, I put it a little far back, so closer to the front. So knowing what this is that it's got like, I don't know, like pulls back on the plunger when you stop and it gets air in there, and so you have to push the air out. And then you end up getting this huge just gush of material coming out. It's really hard to control. EK also suggests to do something similar with this on their guide for installing the MOSFET block. So, whoa, that's a little. So I'm not going to put too much on these chips, just like a little light coating essentially. This one's going to be interesting. I'm going to use my left hand here.
When she whipped her dress, it hit him. See, he's standing there. See the edge of it.
This applicator could have been a little bit bigger. I'll come back to that one. Got too much on the one side over there. That's actually a pretty good one. Let's see. So that's all the chips covered, and we'll just go and put this somewhere. I don't know where. I guess put it on top of this bag. And let me get this out here. I just have to clean off the end of the tube after I use it, just because nobody likes dried up thermal paste sticking on the end of their tubes. Alright, so now we got to put the rest of these on. These things are kind of annoying because they're double-sided. They got like plastic on both sides. So you take it off of one side, and you take it off the other side. It was harder on this one because it was like half melted. What's really annoying is that these pads, these plastic bits I should say, once you take off the one on the other side, the pads get really kind of, they lose some of their structural, yeah, because the pads give them a little bit of structure, so they don't kind of rip apart while they're shipping. But they are annoying as all heck to get off. Okay. There we go. So these purple ones go onto these chips here. And there's another white, kind of grayish one that goes on this section over here. There's like a 3 section here. I think you can see it. Over here near the top by these 2 capacitor looking things. Actually they are capacitors. That's where the other white one goes. If you look at the what was here existing, if they actually had a I don't know, T-block kind of piece, like a Tetris T-block section. Yeah, they call these thermal pads, but they feel more like they're thermal interface material.
It's been a while since I recognized the song on this show. I guess they did so last week.
That one came off pretty easy. The hard part is the other side. So once you get one side off, yeah, it's like good luck, because it's just a nightmare. Come on. This is probably going to be like the outtake reel or something. I'm just trying to take these things off. It's so annoying. Maybe if I put it on first, maybe it'll come off easier. I was thinking about that and like, oh, maybe we do it this way. Nah, heck no. Now I gotta try and take it off while it's on there. Okay, so we're back, And I've finally got all this stuff on here. Got all these little squares to prove there. And you can see all this stuff on there. Actually, it got a lot easier after about 30 times of doing it. It's just, there's a trick to it. Where you have to actually kind of peel off the one side. Get one side kind of off. The other side kind of a little bit off, then you go back around and peel off the other side without ripping the thing in half. It's fine. So what we're going to do now is, I'm going to try and get rid of this thing. It's clinging all over my hands. Over there. This is the thing I was talking about, this little, it's like a kind of a structural lattice kind of, I think it was part of one of the top layers of this, one of these pads. And I ripped it off the thing, but yeah, so we got everything on there. Everything's pretty firmly on there, spaced out pretty well. Nothing's covering any screw ports, screw holes. We're going to take this now, I'm going to put it down over here. And we're going to bring up the GPU block. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go over this thing with just a ton of stuff, not with that, because that's got a bunch of paste on it. Let's go over with some rubbing alcohols all over this thing, make sure I get all the stuff off. We'll do the same thing with the GPU. Well, actually we already did the GPU cover. I'll do it again because that's been sitting out here all night long and it's probably got a little bit of dust on it. Let's see, fold this over, fold it over. Okay. Maybe a little more. Liberal with the application of the rubbing alcohol on this, because we're just going to go over the entire bottom surface of this thing with this. Over everything that will be touching anything. Just kind of make sure it's really well cleaned off. I'll take the dry side, go over it, get off any residue. While rubbing alcohol will dry off itself, there is a little bit of a residue that it leaves behind. Tiny bit, not much, but if you use a lot of it, yeah, it's obvious that it's there. Especially on brushed metal like this, or not brushed, but you know what I mean, plated metal. So there's still a little bit of wetness on there. Alright, everything's good. I'll make sure I don't touch any surface on that side of it now. So, let's go and pull this down here. Pull this back up. Go over this again. Looks pretty good. Nice and shiny. Alright, let's get our thing out here. Let's see. So these are for the back plate. Let's probably take a look at the back plate before we do anything else here. So, flip this over here. Lay it on that, so don't have any problems there. There should be a. So yeah, just trying to figure out which way it goes. Okay, I believe it's this way. There's a hole for a screw there. Got these here. Let's see, how many screws do we have? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so we use these for all of them, all the holes. We don't use these, those other screws, those ones that the, these. No, don't use these spring screws. I guess that's probably, you know, a good thing because they're not very big. I don't think they're made, you know, to be used like this. So, I just want to make sure of that before I start doing anything with the paste. So, just going to flip it back over, put the paste on the die here, and then affix the water cooler to the front of it. Now, I'm going to use the spreader because I'm not sure how this is going to spread it. So I'm just going to do that. Well, let's do this first. Let's be really thorough about this. Actually, clean off the spreading tool as well. Make sure it's nice and somewhat fresh here. Yeah, it's not too bad. There's still a little bit on there, but it's not really that big of a deal. Let me put the lid back on this before I knock it off. We got half a gallon. Yeah, we got 32 ounces of rubbing alcohol on the floor. Alright, so I'm just going to put it on the die itself and spread it out after that. Yeah. A little bit more than what I needed, but we'll work with it. Now it's really best to try and get the entire die covered because getting a little bit off the, again, non-conductive, so it's probably fine. I didn't actually get enough, did I? Somehow that was not enough paste. Maybe it is. I just need to spread it out a bit more efficiently. Just got a little more, not the best job in the world, but you just don't want to get it too thick on here either. Yeah, you can have too much paste. I just want to make sure I have a nice even layer on here. That's pretty good. It's about let's get some of this up off the edge here. That's not going to work. Spreading it around a bit. Make sure I got a nice maybe about 99.99998% coverage there. I'm going to try and get a little bit off here. Then I got onto the outside of the die. And I just took some off the die. Oh well. It's on the outer edge. Well, it won't be that big of an issue, I think. That's good enough. Again, I'm pretty sure this is non-conductive. That's probably something I should look at, though, shouldn't I? Just look that up. Well, this is why it's good to have a phone with you. Don't need a computer. So, let's see. Let's see if Siri's up to the task of dealing with this and what's going on here. Search Google for G-Lid GC Extreme.
Searching Google for G-Lid GC Extreme.
G-Lid. G-Lid, whatever, here we go. New egg. It's like the first, yeah, it came out correctly. Yeah, non-electrical conductive, good. That's what I was looking for. Very, very important information there because, so we don't have to worry, you don't have to worry if it gets a little bit on the CPU socket or something like that. It's not going to cause any issues, other than just being a little bit annoying. So let's go ahead and take this and fix it. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I don't have it move around at all. Alright. So what I'm using the box as kind of a thing to keep it on there with. It's another back plate. We're going to be putting it on upside down. Yeah, it is this way. Okay, right up here. So it says to do the outer screws first on the guide. So that's what we're going to do. Get some washers here. These don't actually connect in. Oh, here we go over here. Plastic washers. So I'm not hooking into the actual thing. Okay, there we go. Wasn't quite lined up actually. So I had to move it around a bit. Alright, now it should be just fine. There we go. So now it's got the paste in there too. I don't think it'll matter too much. Let's see. In terms of the thermal paste, that is. This one is exceptionally difficult. Well, I got like a tiny little bit of the corner off of it, and now it'll probably be even harder to get off. Actually, here we go. There we go. A little thing came out, like a kind of like a there's like a lattice kind of thing that came off the top of it. Not sure if that was part of the pad or not. Shouldn't matter too much though. So as long as I'm gonna stop recording, so this could take a while, and then we'll start once I get everything back. Once I get everything on, and we'll start go from there. Put the paste on the GPU, then get the water block ready to put on, and then deal with the backplate. So again, you probably don't want to tighten them all the way down yet. You actually get some of these with the backplates too. So you get twice the amount of screws that you actually need. Okay. Just the whole kind of thing, trying to figure out where all the screws go to. There's one there. Let's see. I want to get some of these outer ones done first so I can kind of secure the back plate where it's actually supposed to be at before I start screwing other things in. Alright, where's my... Start tightening these down. Need the bit here. That one's not lined up properly or something either. So there's two screws that go in on the other side of the backplate. In other words, there's two screws that go right down into the circuit board holes. I think we need to do these first to kind of bring the board, the board and the water cooling block kind of closer to the back so that the other stuff will be a little bit closer. Just trying to figure out where all these holes are supposed to line up at. That one might have gotten stripped a tiny bit. Tiny bit. Let's see. I think this is actually a better fit. Definitely a better fit. Alright, so let me see. The guide here, take a look at the... It kind of shows you a thing of where the screws are supposed to go. So every open hole. Okay, so there's two different types of screws here, apparently. I think it has to do with the length. Yes, it does. So as you can see here, So the MX12 screws, which are the longer ones, come with a backplate, and you have the MX8 screws, which are the shorter ones. Those come with the card. This backplate is not actually exactly like it's shown on this thing back here, which is interesting. So the MX8 screws go in the outer edge ones here, according to this. These two here and this one, and I would assume this one too. So anywhere where there's like a direct contact with the board, the MX8 go in there, and the MX12s are the ones that go into the other holes that from each other. I don't know which cooler this is, used for. As you look at it, the actual picture, it doesn't even. There's stuff missing that's from this that's not in this, like this little cutout part here, and this cutout section here, and also the entire thing doesn't go to the back here. So I'm not sure how they expect us to connect some of these. I also have these kind of black thingamabobs. These might be related to the opposite side here. So like for example, this goes in here, and these maybe go on the other side. Oh. This should be tightened down enough that we can do this. It's like we'll take one of these, goes on the front. This one, I don't know how that works, but what I do know that is that the screw that I tightened down here that just kind of didn't seem to fit all the way down, that one's not one that goes there, so I need to take it out. I didn't do anything to it, it's just, it's a little shorter, so. Oh no, that's one of the 12s. Never mind. That is the one that's supposed to go in there. Never mind. But I think I had an 8 that I was trying to put in some of these other ones, and that's why they weren't going. I probably shouldn't tighten them down yet.